Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and I just did a video on how to inlay this wood into another, or I hope I did it so you could understand it. Seemed a little difficult. But now we're going to do the petal, the roses, and because I haven't moved anything, I can nudge stuff right back to where it's going to be above that other leaf. Now there's going to be a hole in the top because that's actually the opening of the flower. And we'll go ahead and do this leaf or this little petal. I'm going to get rid of that for a second. Now I'm going to left click and right click. And we have the same thing. We still have what the gentleman was calling double lines. They're not really double lines. They're just two different aspects of the flower. So we need to do a couple things to get rid of some of these lines. So I'm going to nudge that over. And if you look, we got some really bad spots right here. We're going to take the shape tool and just hit delete and delete. And over here, this is just a, you can even use the shape tool the whole time and just hit delete, 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 delete. Now, by doing this, we're changing the shape of the flower, but we can always change it back. And I don't like that roughness right there, so I'm going to bring out the smoothing tool, which you have an X7 or above, and smooth that out a little bit, make it more look, not quite as sharp. Now we can bring in the other piece. Well, it's actually this piece. There we go. Let's move that piece back. And like I said, we changed the shape of our first one. So let's clean this second one up, taking the shape tool and just deleting these nodes. And if you zoomed in here, you could do a little bit better job. And we're going to change the shape, completely change the shape of that one. And let's just join these two by right-clicking and close curve. And then let's get rid of, can't delete it. We need to make this kind of straight. And we're totally messing up the flower, but we can definitely put it right back. So we're going to take the smoothing tool and that's still kind of broken. So what we want to do, let's do it right. If we're going to do it, take the shape tool, select those two, go to Windows, Dockers, Join Curves, and hit apply. And now that's one piece again. And we've got a couple other rough spots, maybe. That might work. You can't have, we mentioned, or I mentioned in the first video, this is pretty small stuff. So you got to make it where it won't burn away. But now we need to kind of get it back to where it was. So depending on which one you think and I don't like this, it's rough right in here. So let's just straighten that. Wow. I grabbed the roughing tool instead of the smoothing tool. So smooth that out a little bit. Now let's take the shape tool itself and let's take this one. And let's take this node and play around. Whoop. The arrow is like right on top of that other. There we go. And I'm just creating that line back between the two petals. Now the question is, and I wish I should have, before I started this series, asked the gentleman how big this flower is going to be. If it's only going to be this big, which is, this thing is less than 3/4 of an inch big, that's a mighty fine line. And if you don't do that, it's going to burn away. But you need separation between these two pieces of wood. Because if we join these two pieces of wood, then it's just going to be a glob. So let's look at this one, bring it over, and we can try something else. So we can maybe do the exact same thing we're going to do in the that we did on the leaf. Let's clean this up a little bit. And if we're going to, I just don't know. If I was doing it for myself, I'd go for it and try to, because this line is just going to burn away if we have one piece of wood. So let's just continue like it's going to be, every piece is going to be a different one. So once you've cleaned it all up, and I'm not going to clean them all up so you can see what's going on. And this is what's so nice about the smoothing tool, because I'm only picked on one of them, but I can smooth it to the next one because I'm not touching the next one, or I haven't clicked on the next one. And that might look pretty good to have some variation. And then let's go ahead and bring in, let's go ahead and just bring them in, and then I'm not going to clean them up. And that one that I said is going to have a hole, that's part of the flower. So let's kind of look at them. So we don't only have double lines, but we do need to clean these up prior to doing what I want to do. And this would be a lot better with the, because you can't have that in, if you're going to lay in and cut that out of wood. Then click on the next item. It would be a lot better to grab the shape tool itself and get rid of that node just by that. Go and just delete these nodes. Then get the smoothing tool again and smooth this out. So what I'm going to attempt to do, that looks pretty good, and you're going to need to fix this. We've got to fix that before I can show what I'm doing. And this is maybe the best way to do it, because you can see, you can immediately see if you need to fix part of the next petal. I hope I'm making sense. And then we'll probably get rid of this totally. Just get the pick tool, break the curve apart, grab that piece and just delete it. And the same thing here, we need to get rid of that. That's just going to burn away and not going to be able to do anything with. So get the, this is almost times when you'd want to make a hotkey for the smoothing tool and the shape tool. All right, we got where we're at. There's a double node right here I want to get rid of. Not really going to cause a problem, but we don't need it. So we've got this shape. What I would do is take this and use the boundary tool and create a boundary around it, and then go to the contour tool, go to effects and contour, let's just say to the outside 0.2 and see what happens. Whoa, way too much. 0.02. There we go. Now go and break the contour apart and take this, and because I'm going to nudge it, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Now let's nudge this over near the leaf part. So what you could do is now cut this out of one piece of wood and engrave these lines. So to be able to do that, we're going to have to stop them from leaking. And some of them aren't going to be as easy as the other ones. But let's grab the 3-point line, which is my favorite tool, because you can do things like this. You know, make it look a little normal, a little natural. Now this is like 3 pieces that we're going to stop. And I'm not saying this is how you have to do it. But this is, because this other interior stuff is just going to burn away on this smaller scale. Now, if he's going to make this thing quite a bit bigger, then I'm going to grab the shape tool and move this in just a little bit. We're almost there, folks. We just need to stop the Smart Fill tool from leaking out outwardly. And I'm going faster now, and I would be using the 3-point line. I'm using it all the time, but I'm not really curving anything. I'm just drawing straight lines with it. Curve it up a little bit. Okay, I think we have all the leaks fixed. Now take your Smart Fill tool. It worked. And move that out of the way. Now all you have to do is the same thing we did. Forget this model. So we have let's group this together. Well, we don't have to group together. It's a fill. This is going to work. So now what we're going to do is Control D and make a duplicate of this guy. And we're going to get it way over here, and we're going to color it. We're going to cut this out of a piece of wood. Let's make a piece of wood that's a different color than the other one. And we're going to cut it out, and it's going to be red like a rose. Okay? Then this is our small piece of veneer that's going to fit inside the big piece. So now we have, if you remember, we had a piece of wood. We need to make it big enough for the stem, and I might make a video later on the stem itself. Bad choice of colors. So that's cut out of we've got either a hole or we've got an engraved spot. I'm suggesting go with the gray spot. So now again, engraved spot. If this is a 1/4 inch piece of wood and you engrave down 1/8 of an inch, and this is 1/8 of an inch veneer, this is going to go in that hole. I need to go to order in front of page. And then this is going to engrave like we did the leaves, or the leaf. That's the way I would do it. So this could be a green leaf out of green wood, or dyed green wood, or brown, or whatever you want to do, and this is going to be red. I really hope you understand this, because this is pretty cool, and then you just need to do, really and truly, the stem and the leaf would be ultra easy. I hope they make sense. This will be engraved. This will be engraved. So just have them off to the side. Cut these 2 holes out, or engrave these 2 holes. So it's going to look like this in the engraving. So this will be 2 black holes that will be engraved. The white won't be engraved. Well, you know what? That might cause a problem, because this is going to engrave it. So what I would have to do is back up here, take this one color, pick that black, left click, and I would get rid of that. Get rid of that right there. So now this is all going to engrave. You're going to engrave down less than 1/8 of an inch, just a hair, glue it down, sand it all smooth, and then bring in your red wood that could be rosewood or, bloodwood. Put it in the hole. Bring in your leaf that was yellow earlier, or let's make it yellow for right now so you can see it. Put it to the front of page. And that's already got the engraved part on it. And you could possibly even engrave it. There's a thought, you could engrave it, but then you're not going to be able to sand it off. So if you engrave it last, when you inlay something like that, you want to be able to sand it off and get it all flush. I've got a couple of videos on how to do that and get every joint perfect. But I have found that if you engrave the well and then put the wood down there, it's going to be so tight, or the fit's going to be perfect. I hope this makes sense, at least for the one viewer that asked. Anyway, hope that helped. Thank you.